Hey everybody, and welcome back to Life with Lolo. It is time for our weekly recap of Sistas. This is season 2, episode 5, and it was titled Up in Flames. Alright, y'all, so let's just jump into it. So it kind of opens up with, the way it left off last week with Andy walking slow to Fatima and then busting out in tears and all this other stuff. And then Fatima like, what's going on, girl? What's wrong? Okay, you okay? You okay? She was like, yeah, I'm okay. She was like, so what happened? What happened? Did you get it? Did you win? Yeah, so these is happy tears. Yeah. She was like, okay, well, I'm so excited. And she was like, all right, let's act professional, girl. Let's act professional. This show is the empty law office. But anyway, she's telling her act professional, act professional. And then she was inviting her to Maurice big thing going on at the gay bar later on that night, because Fatima was like, girl, this is a cause for celebration. She was like, okay, yes it is. My friend is actually having something down there at this bar or whatever, so come through. And so Fatima was like, all right, y'all, just send me the information or whatever. And Andy like, don't be late, girl, don't be late. She was like, I'm gonna be on time, I'm gonna be on time. So then Andy, she grabbed her box of money. Of course, Fatima like, damn, I'm with Fatima. Like, I was hoping you was gonna forget that shit, but she did. She picked up her box, and as she walking away, Paris, the guy who dropped her off, like, I don't know, some odd episodes ago, where remember the grandmom had wanted his grandmom had some episode. I say episode because she probably was faking. And sorry y'all, an episode, and she asked Paris to take Andy home from the hospital and all this other stuff. So she runs into Paris at the law office. He flirting heavy and stuff, talking about something, you didn't call me, but you got a man and stuff. And she was like, yeah, but you just said it, I got a man, so that's why I didn't call you. And he was like, yeah, but I wanted to kind of thank you for everything, so I wanted to take you out to dinner and stuff. She was like, but you just said I got a man. I was like, duh, okay, like, hello, you just said she had a man, but now you asked him to take out to dinner. And then he gonna say, well, if you ain't got no ring, until you got a ring on your hand or something like that, you free or something, like you single basically. And she was like, no, he said he gonna put his bid in or something. She was like, bid? Like I'm some property? I'm not nobody's property. Like, like you didn't, be quiet. And so he like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you and stuff like that. So she was like, yeah, but you did, so deuce out. So then he was like, well, I thought that you was kind of like wavering, like I ain't know you was still with old dude, because I heard some things. She was like, what you hear? And he was like, well, I was here when the FBI agents came and stuff, so I'm thinking like you about to dump this man. She was like, look, you doing too much, like I gotta go, deuces or whatever. So he go over there to Fatima because Andy left. She left with her box of money, child. She left. He go over there talking to Fatima. Fatima like, oh, you here for your check? Do he work at the law office or something? I know his grandmom had worked at the law office cleaning up. Did he take her spot or something? I don't know what he do at the law office, but he was trying to wait. He was getting his check for Fatima, and so he gonna say, yeah, I'm having a bad day or something. And she was like, what's going on? He was like, Andy. She was like, don't get involved. Walk away. And he was like, oh, you know her, so go and put in a good word. She was like, I ain't putting in no good word for you. And I ain't with all the gossip going on in the office and stuff. Here, take your check. I ain't getting involved with that shit. Not today. Go and take your check and do so now. Go and leave. So that he going about his own business. At the bank, we see Bree. She's slow walking into the bank, child. I guess she was scared. She was fitting to lose her job. She starts talking to the lady, India, I think her name was. And India is basically like, all right, come on, Bree. Let's come in his office and have a little sit down. She was like, before we do that, let me just tell you, you can check my track record. I ain't never do nothing wrong. Like, I've been on board ever since and stuff. And the girl was like, look, I got it. We did an audit and we checked your stuff. And we saw what you did. And she was like, what? You saw what I did? Huh? She was like, yeah, we saw that you did nothing wrong. So, you're not going to lose your job, but they want to suspend you for a couple days or whatever. She was like, what? A couple days? She was like, girl, they wanted to suspend your ass for 3 weeks. So you better be happy with these 3 days. So she was like, oh, okay, all right, no problem. So then she was like, when I sign this paper and say that you was gone for 3 days. She was like, huh? She was signing a paper. So she signs the paper and stuff like that. She was like, all right. And then go on over there, train this new dude. And she was like, what? I'm not suspended? She was like, no. I'm like, Bree, you just signed the paper. The lady just said, sign this paper to say that you was off for 3 days. So therefore, you ain't fired. You ain't going to be suspended. Go get your job behind the counter, child. So India was like, no, you're not suspended. I'ma handle this at with the head office or people up there or whatever like that. Train this new dude named Jacoby. And they go over there, child. Why India flirting hard with the dude, talking about, oh yeah, this is Jacoby and Bree. I'm gonna need you to train him, and yeah, So Bree acting all weird, like I'm like they act like they never saw a cute man before, like the fuck. But at any rate, because child, the way they was talking to this man, you thought they was about to. Anyway, India, she leaves or whatever. Bree, she takes the man behind the counter and stuff like that. And she tell him, go over there. I'm going to be over there with you in a minute. She go over to the side. She called Maurice on the phone. We see Maurice, he down there at the club getting on Calvin nerves about the banner and stuff. Talking about, that's straight. That's straight. Fix the banner. Ain't nothing straight up in here unless it's a man. So I said, why they gotta be making Maurice's character like this? This is annoying at this point. But at any rate, he get on the phone with Bree. Bree like, what, Maurice, you okay? Because they just got this new dude down here. They want me to train him and stuff. And he gonna be working at your desk or whatever. Because India said start him at booth 2 or something like that. And that's where Maurice be at. So he was like, well, I'm on disability, girl. I'm hurting. She was like, well, she got this new guy down here training them, and he going to be at your station. What? Oh, I'm going to handle that bitch, India. I never liked that bitch. And so then Bree was like, well, he fine. He was like, oh, I'm on my way. So then he go down there. I said, Lord. We find out Jacoby worked at a credit union for 3 years. And that's why he trained for the position or whatever. And so she like, okay, 3 years. So she trying to train him on the stuff. She acting like she can't even get near the man to put the information into the computer. I was like, women don't act like this. He fine, okay? Like, what? And so Jacoby talking about something, you smell good. And she was like, yeah, I take a shower. And then he was doing some other stuff. She was like, well, can we get focused on this right here? Like, can we get focused on your job, and stuff? And so he was like, oh, okay. I said, they doing too much in this scene. But whatever. We see Danny. She's sitting in the car. She calling Preston. Because remember, Preston dipped out when she went on this whole slavery thing. Preston dipped out. So she calling Preston and she leaving messages on his phone. And she basically like, call me. I forwarded all my work calls to my cell phone. So call me. I'm on break right now. So she hang up. The phone ring. It's somebody who works at the job. They trying to figure out where Zach at and if Danny knew where Zach was because they lived together or whatever. She was like, well, we just roommates and stuff like that. I don't know where he at. What's going on. And so the dude was like, well, he hasn't showed up for work. And she's like, that's kind of weird because he don't ever miss, work and stuff. So she was like, cover for him. Old dude, like, look, I can't cover for him. I'm old. She was like, look, you need to retire. Okay, that's your problem. You can't carry 2 people bags. Like, what the? Like, it's crazy. So she like, I'm going to figure out what's going on. So then we see Karen. She at the shop and stuff. She doing somebody's hair. And Danny calls Karen asking, like, where's Zach at? And then Karen, like, he in jail, girl. Well, we was down there at the hotel, and he bust into the hotel room, and him and Aaron got into it and stuff. And then they're like, he in jail. What you want? I'm not bailing him out. I'm not doing that. So why you ain't gonna bail him out? He about to lose his job. Okay, that ain't my problem. He should have thought about all that before. And so Danny like, okay, girl, whatever. Like, you really ain't gonna bail him out? She like, no, I'm not. And I don't blame her. Like, Zach is grown. He needs to take responsibility for himself and stop expecting people to bail him out all the goddamn time. He not going to do right until people stop doing for him. So at any rate, they hang up. Did Danny do something? No, Danny ain't do nothing. Andy shows up at Karen's job or whatever. And Andy telling her what happened down there with Morris and how she got him on recording and all this other stuff. And she just waiting for the big rigs to, follow through and figure some shit out and stuff. And she like, well, that's good, girl. That's good. So, what about you and Gary and stuff? So then Andy tell her that she really think Gary innocent. She think they set him up. And then she was like, well, why you look sad and stuff? She was like, well, Cause something about him, his jealousy, and then the way he be acting, and then he wanted to buy me this big house. He wanted to take me out my apartment. He wanted to do all this stuff. And so she was like, well, do he hit you, girl? She was like, look, no, he don't hit me. That was in college. She was like, look, I just gotta make sure and stuff. So she's trying to figure that out. And then not Karen, Andy was like, well, you know, I know he take care of me. He gave me this money. So she showed her the money. She was like, well, where you get that from, girl? She was like, I don't know. I guess it's something that rich people just have hanging around. I'm like, that should have been your number one question. I mean, take the box of money by all means, but you should have tried to figure out where the hell he got that money from, because something ain't right about that. Who just got $250K just laying around in a damn house? Like, what? Who the child by? And what happened after that? Then, I forgot what happened. Somehow they got on to Zach or whatever. And then Karen told Andy that he was in jail. And Andy was like, he in jail? You ain't gonna bail him out? She was like, no, that's not my problem. Like, he not my man. He not my problem. I'm not bailing him out. And so Andy like, girl, you need to bail him out. Like, why did you doing this to him? Look, that's not my problem. Go on, deposit your money in the bank or whatever. Because Andy said she was going to get a safety deposit box in the bank. Because Karen was like, well, girl, you can't put that in the bank. She was like, I know, but I'm going to get a safety deposit box, put it in there, and yada, yada, yada. So that's somehow they got on Zach and then all that. And then Andy was like, oh, okay, Karen, all right, whatever. I ain't gonna say nothing. That ain't my business and stuff. She was like, oh, you know what, girl? I like your dress. She was like, oh, thank you, girl. Thank you. She was like, yeah, it looked like that wallpaper. Now free my nigga Zach. I said, girl, bye. Why is you all on the Zach train all of a sudden? You barely like Zach. Then you just cut Zach out 5 episodes ago in the car. Like, Andy, get that beep out of here. See, that's a problem. She always going on with these wrong men. See, that's your problem right now. That's why you're in the predicament you're in now. Anyway, Maurice, why was Maurice walking with that goddamn walker? And then he wasn't even doing it right. All he was doing was putting the walker in front of him and then taking like, so what in the world? He had the job, child. I don't even know if he's supposed to be at the job, but he had the job with the walker. He all coming in there. He knocking Jacoby over with the damn walker. Jacoby like, what the hell is this problem? But he's talking to Bree, and he wants Jacoby to move out his station and stuff, and he tell Bree like, come on, just move down here and stuff. And I thought Bree was like some kind of supervisor because she had her own office or something. So I'm like, why is she letting Maurice talk to her like this? But Bree don't have no backbone. But at any rate, Maurice is basically like, he want his job back and he don't want nobody to take his job. He insecure basically that Jacoby gonna steal his job. But I'm like, it's room for all of y'all tellers to be working there. So what's the problem, Maurice? He ain't clock in. He ain't do nothing, but he taking somebody checked and deposited in the bank. I said, what in the world? But anyway, Jacoby went on break or something, I think. I don't know. But somehow him and Bree started talking, and he asked Bree was she interested in Jacoby because she was saying like he cute and funny and stuff, and Maurice was like, yeah, he is fine, girl, he is fine, because he did ask her if he was straight or whatever, and she was like, yeah, he not gay or nothing like that. So Maurice was like, well, I should have just stayed down there at the bar. And Bree was like, well, I can smell alcohol on you. He talking about something. It's his ointment that he used for his aching bones. I said, Maurice, now, first of all, you coming into work. Was you even supposed to be working? You're taking somebody's check. You're drunk. Like, come on now. This is too much. But they get to talking, and then Andy came into the bank. She got the money, of course. And they doing some weird conversation where they don't want Maurice and Jacoby to hear what's going on, but she want her to take the money into the bag or whatever. So she was like, girl, you want to explain this stuff to me. So she was like, we'll be back. So then they go to the bag to put the money in the safety deposit box. And then Maurice and Jacoby is up front. They talking. And so Jacoby trying to do small talk and stuff. And of course, Maurice like, what you not finna do is take my job. Is you even qualified for this job? And how did you even get this job? Because I know Miss Mims type or whatever like that. So he basically insinuating that Miss Mims slept with Jacoby, which I don't really put all that past her. The way she was acting with him. But he might be qualified or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. Maurice ain't had to come at his neck like that. Next scene we see Zach. He's still sitting there in the jail and stuff like that. And then here come this cop again. I really need her to get some therapy or something and talk her problems out with the therapist, because at this time, talking to Zach about how he treated her when she was younger and stuff, yeah, no. So she like, oh, so you still in jail or whatever? What happened and stuff? And he was like, look, I ain't got time for this shit. Like, I'm still up in here. Like, what the fuck you want? Like, yada, yada, yada. So she like, oh, I know what happened. You went up to that hotel and you saw that man with your girl and then you just quirked out or whatever. And he was like, so y'all just think y'all know everything. And he was like, she was like, yeah, we the cops or whatever. And so somehow it got on her whole situation where he dogged her out. Basically, she was into him and she wanted to know if him and his friends took a bet on who was going to hit it first. And he was like, look, you don't really want to know that information. And she was like, I want to know, tell me. And so he was like, yeah. And so she was like, I knew it. I knew that's what it was or whatever. She was like, you a dog or whatever, because I was really into you and you played me and all this other stuff. She was just going in all her hurt feelings and stuff like that. He was like, look, I'm sorry. I regret some of the stuff. I would take some of the stuff back if I could redo it and stuff. She was like, some of the stuff. He was like, yeah, I don't regret sleeping with you because like you was good or whatever, but I regret the way I treated you and how it came about and stuff. So he say all that because I think she said that she was going to get him out or something like that if he would just apologize or something like that. So she was like, oh, okay. You had me fooled and stuff. I knew you almost had me or whatever, but I'm still not letting you out of here. He was like, no, for real though, I'm really sorry. And I regret those things that I did when I was younger and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, okay, well, you free to go. And he was like, what, you gonna really let me out or something? She was like, no, I ain't bail you out, nigga. I ain't got $5,000 giving you. And so she was like, somebody else did. I don't know who. So, what happened? So then he leaves out, and then we see Fatima. She's sitting outside the jailhouse, and she bailed him out. And she like, look, you need to tell me how you got locked up or whatever. And so she was like, look, I want to go to dinner. I'm hungry or whatever like that. Let's go. So then he gave her a hug and stuff, and then they kind of walked off to the car. This hair getting on my nerves. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta keep moving it on my head, on my face, but it's just like I'm doing the Aaliyah style and shit. But it's getting on my nerves. Anyway, Aaron is at the salon with Karen is there and Pam is there. They closed up and stuff. Pam counting the money and stuff, and then Aaron go knocking on the door, and Pam like, what he doing here? And Karen was like, I invited him here. Go on, open up the door. So she opened up the door. Of course, Pam want to be nosy and stick around, and Karen like, girl, go on about your business. Get your purse. Go on, get. And she was like, but you said you wanted me to clean up. You do it tomorrow. Now, you know you're going to be mad if I don't clean up today. Girl, go. So then Pam finally leaves. Aaron and Karen start talking and stuff. And Karen apologizes to Aaron, which I was grateful for because she did him wrong because he ain't do nothing. That was stupid ass Zach coming in there. And then he was like, yeah, we was in the middle of something. And she was like, well, I ain't do nothing wrong. He was like, well, we did something. And she was like, no, I ain't do nothing. He was like, you right. You right. I was like, Lord. So anyway, she tells him she not going down there to the hotel with him tonight. Cause, I forgot to tell y'all, she told Andy that she had people clean up her house and stuff like that. That's how they got on Zach. That's what it was. So she had people come out to the house to clean up and stuff like that. So she gonna stay at her apartment at that night or the night or whatever. But he was like, it's okay or whatever. You want to go out for dinner or something? And she was like, well, actually, we headed down to this bar for my friend is having like this thing down this bar or whatever. He was like, okay, that's cool. She was like, well, it's a gay bar. He was like, okay, that's cool. We can go. And she was like, you ain't got a problem with the gay bar? He was like, no, I don't judge people. I got enough shit going on in my life. What the hell I'm judging other people for? So she was like, you right. So they gonna head down there to the gay bar or whatever. And he said that he gonna drive in case she want to drink. And so they did that. And so, what else happened, child? Let me see. Okay, so we back at Danny's house, and Danny calling Preston again. He's sending her right to voicemail and stuff. Bree just walks all up in Danny's house, but I think she got a key, so that's fine. So she walks up in the house, and she basically like, girl, what's wrong? She was like, no, Bree was like, well, Andy got my car. I'm giving the car share and stuff like that, so come on, let's go. So because I want to drink and yada, yada, yada. So, she was like, what's wrong with you, girl? She was like, girl, I think I overreacted and stuff. And she goes to tell what happened with Preston and stuff. Of course, she got to put her little embellishments on and talking about something. He had her chained up. I said, girl, you had one hand handcuffed to the goddamn bed. If you don't cut it out. But, because at first when she was telling the story, Brie was like, oh, that's some kinky stuff. Okay. And, so then she tells her the story and stuff. She was like, well, I mean, you are dating a white man and you did say he was green. So you think you overreacted a little bit? And she was like, I don't know, girl. But he won't answer my calls and stuff like that. And she was like, well, come on down here to the club and stuff, you know, get some drinks in you and whatever. And she was like, you wearing that? She was like, yeah, I'm wearing this. I don't even understand why I'm going anyway. I don't like Maurice and Maurice don't like me. So why am I going? She was like, well, you know, you can go out there and have a good time. She was like, yeah, to the gay bar where more men don't want me. So I was like, oh, Lord, Danny. But anyway, so then they finally leave out because she was like, well, I'm not changing my clothes because she still had her uniform. She was like, I'm not changing my clothes. So let's go. So they finally leave. At the jail, now see, this is the part where it started getting real good at the jail. Andy meeting with Gary, so they meeting up. He apologizes and stuff. She apologized. You know how they do their whole banter and stuff. And then she tells him what happened with Morris. Is that the man name? The lawyer? Is it Morris? I'm sorry, y'all. My printer want to talk, but is it Morris or Business? Whatever, you know, whatever the lawyer guy's name is. So she tells him what happened, and because she was like, so that should help you out. And he was like, well, it should help us out. And she was like, okay, like us, whatever. And he was like, yeah, but you said me, like it was just me, but it should help you out too or whatever. And she was like, oh, okay, but I'm not really like all that involved and stuff. And he was like, but you know, your stuff got taken and stuff like that. And she was like, yeah, you're right. So he was like, but don't worry about it. Tomorrow, I'm going to get it all back for you. She was like, okay, baby, thank you, or whatever. And so then this fool was like, well, you still talking to Hayden. And she was like, yeah, you know, he the lawyer and stuff like that. He helping me get the stuff back. Excuse me. And so he was like, well, why do you need him? And she was like, you in jail. So, like, you in jail. Like, you need him to help you get out. I need him to help me get my stuff back. Like, what is going on? And so she tells him, like, look, this whole jealousy thing is real insulting because you act like I'm sleeping with everybody around here. And that's real insulting to me. And so he was like, well, you know, I don't really mean it like that or whatever. But, I think she called him insecure and stuff. I don't know. But she was like, look, I love you and I want to be with you. That's why I'm here. Like, I wouldn't be here in this predicament with you if I don't love you and wanted to be with you and stuff like that. And she was like, well, I'm not going to put up with this jealousy stuff or whatever. And you don't really have no choice or whatever. So he was like, so I don't have no choice. Like, I don't want you talking to this dude. Like, I don't want you talking to nobody or stuff like that. Because he was like, well, I love you too, but I don't want you talking to people or something he said like in that range or whatever. And I was just like, what? This fool is crazy. So then he said, well, I don't got no choice. Well, I'm the man or whatever. And she was like, yeah, a married man. He was like, yeah, but I told you I was getting divorced and stuff. Yeah, you told me, but you ain't divorced yet. You can't be jealous and a married man. Like, you need to pick a struggle. I said, ooh, okay. So then he said, yeah, well, I'm jealous over what's mine, and that's how it's going to be or whatever. And so she said something. Oh, I don't remember exactly what she said, but then he said something like, that little apartment, that ain't shit. She was like, what? Like, my apartment ain't shit. So then she got all of her bag or whatever. He was like, look, I'm trying to uplift you, give you the world and shit, and you just trying to be basic. Like, step your shit up or whatever. And so she goes off on him. She told him where to stick it and keep it moving. And he said something like, well, you don't believe me or something. Well, you got all the evidence and all the proof and stuff. And she was like, so you don't believe me? She was like, that is to be determined or some shit like that. So I was like, Lord, she don't believe him now. But you just told Karen that you believe he was innocent. But whatever. And so they trying to figure out who each other is. Because they like, well, who is you? I guess I don't know who you are. I guess I don't know who you are. So they going that back and forth thing. And then he was like, you know what? this is done. I'm done with you. Go on to leave. I got me a lawyer. What do you say? My homie got me a lawyer, and she's gonna get me out or whatever. So I don't need you no more. I was just like, oh. And so she was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, no, don't be apologized. She was like, I'm not sorry. That wasn't for you. I was telling myself I'm so sorry for dealing with your dumb ass. I said, so then she was like, my life was good before I met you, and then here you come in here with your old bullshit, and now my life all fucked up and stuff. And so he was like, good life, what, jumping man to man? I said, you just call her a hoe? So then I said, Lord. So then he was just like, all right, yeah. So again, this is over. Lose my number. Don't come here to see me no more. Like, me and you, we done. It's a wrap. And I want all my money back. Every single fucking dime, I want it back. And she was like, I'm not giving you back shit. Guard. And then it went off. I said, okay, Andy. Now, this the Andy I like to see. Now, this Andy better keep the same MF energy the next day. Because you know how she is when she get all of her bag and, oh, Gary, he was so good to me. So she better keep the same goddamn energy. I said, ooh, child. Like, it really started getting good at the end. I said, damn, we could have had, y'all should have did this the whole episode. But at any rate, y'all, next week's episode looks like it's going to be fun and uplifting and stuff like that. Them dancing, having a good time. But you know it's going to be some drama sprinkled in there. And then Zach looked like he about to screw Fatima, which is not a big shocker. But we'll see how it ends up. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Y'all let me know if y'all like this recap review. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, but you're watching this review, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. All right, y'all. Until next time. Peace.